My mother suffers from a disability and as such is permanently bedridden. I'm the only person who lives with her in the family house. She has support workers who come by throughout the day to help with hygiene and showering, however, I help with absolutely everything else. Cooking, paying bills, errands, organizing home maintenance, checking emails, making her comfortable in bed, shopping, managing investments, etc. I do not get paid by the government to be her carer, nor does she pay me or in any other real way show her appreciation. She feels entitled to my help, and it's really a thankless job. As part of managing her finances, I logged into her online banking to notice almost $100K was missing from her savings account. On further inspection, the money was sent to my sister. I asked my sister about it, and she told me our mother gifted it to her to buy a highly specced Tesla. I was livid by this. Mother has always treated sister as the favorite. Apart from this gift, she has probably given her over $100K in other things over the past few years which I never got. For example, I had to pay for my first car, whereas she got a brand new one paid for. When I moved to college, I had to pay for it myself, whereas my mother, who is wealthy, paid for her to have a premium unit. I burst into my mother's room going on about how I'm sick of the favoritism, how unfair it is because children should be treated equally, and how she has never known appreciation for the sacrifices I made to be her de facto carer. For example, I can't leave the house overnight, which rules out all holidays, for example. It's been like this for 5 years since my father died. Initially, I asked if she had any intention of giving me $100K to make up for it, and she said no. During our 30-minute argument, she never directly answered how it was fair, instead asking questions like, "Do you feel like you've missed out?" among other questions. It reached boiling point, and she ultimately said, "It's my money and I'll spend it on whatever I want." I said, "Fine, I won't be helping you at all anymore." I have now ignored all of my mother's texts for help over the past 2 weeks. I've heard from my sister she's now looking at full-time residential care due to my lack of assistance, which people in my country do as a very last resort, as the residents are neglected and fed poorly, and there's no sense of it being your home. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, let your sister step up for once. Tell mummy dearest that her golden child can care for her, because you sure as crap won't be. This is what I came to say. Let the golden child have her. She can drive over in her shiny new car. Right? I love how as soon as she stopped doing everything. My favorite one was like, put her in a crappy senior home, stat. That's the one the mom chose. Not the idiot. I think you should have just left without the big blowout. However, if she is intent on playing favorites to this degree, she has no one to blame but herself. She can spend her money how she likes and you can live your life how you want. Take this opportunity and do that. Not the idiot. I think you should have just left without the big blowout. It took the blowout for mom to finally admit there was no mistake and OP is seen as less than her sister. It was valuable. There's no longer any ambiguity. OP doesn't have to worry there was some kind of misunderstanding on mom's part or some kind of manipulation on sister's part. Both mom and sister are totally fine with OP carrying all the burden without any of the thanks. She's right, it's her money, she can do what she wants with it. But it's your life and that means you can do what you want with that, and you are in no way obligated to spend that life catering to the whim of a woman who treats you like her personal slave. Let your sister sort this one. See how long the sister sticks around when she realizes all your mom's money is being spent on carers rather than your sister. No, she can't. You can't rack up huge bills and force one daughter to do all the labor and then give the other daughter huge amounts of money. OP is owed money for all the unpaid labor. If the mom didn't have the money and this was done out of love, sure, but the mom has the money and is refusing to pay her caretaker. So my sister is getting married next February, a destination wedding no less. I have doubts about whether this wedding is actually going to happen with the pandemic and everything, but she is totally set on moving forward. Anyways, because of the pandemic, her original venue has made her cut down on guests because they're cutting capacity by half. As a result, she's sending out re-invites that ask everyone to RSVP again. But in order to figure out who to invite and who to cut, she's asking all confirmed guests to submit 250-word essays to 2 questions. The gist is that they'll use these essays to choose who can come or not, based on people's enthusiasm. People who don't write essays at all will be automatically disqualified. I just feel really insulted by all of this. The questions aren't even pandemic related, it's broad topics like, why do you still want to celebrate this day with us? And what will attending our wedding means to you specifically? So she's blatantly looking for people to kiss her backside and tell her why they really want to go. Anyways, I told her in advance I'm not writing 500 words on why I needed to attend her wedding, spend my own money on plane tickets, hotels, and buy her a present. This has really rubbed her and my parents the wrong way. She's said that to keep things fair, if I don't fill out the RSVP correctly, I won't be saved a spot. I said fine with me. Then my parents said if I don't show up I'm going to be in big trouble with all our relatives, so just write the essays. Am I the idiot if I stay stubborn on this? I'm already annoyed at the thought of spending thousands and coming home to quarantine. But I will not belt out 500 words on how this is totally my choice. Am I the idiot? P.S. I'm 27. I don't live with family, but she is my only sister. Sister has framed these essays as surveys, but there's a word limit requirement, so if you don't reach it on the Google Forms you can't even submit it. Parents think this is perfectly reasonable and nice, even because the sister is letting everyone have the chance to attend. Not the idiot. I would definitely send in 2 essays. The first would say, Mom, Dad said I have to come or I'm in big trouble, over and over again until you hit 250. The second, I'm your sibling. Not the idiot, and I hope no one writes the essay so she can see how ridiculous she's being. Not the idiot. Holy hell, this is a new one. Props to your sister for inventing a whole new way to be a lunatic. If they don't care enough to reserve you a spot, why would you want to celebrate a day with someone so selfish? I think they're going to get a hard dose of reality when people don't respond or meet their 500-word essay. How are you going to be in big trouble with your parents? Assuming you're old enough to pay for the trip out of your pocket, there's not really anything they can do except be mad. Save your money and treat yourself to a nice trip to somewhere that doesn't have crazy people. Just last week I purchased a new MacBook for myself. My old one lasted me 5 years and is still technically working, but due to some water damage the speakers are completely screwed, the screen flickers quite a bit when not charging, and overall it's just slow. I have no use for it anymore. Regarding my cat, so I live in a fairly small apartment, and although it has windows there really isn't much to see besides a few trees and the parking lot really. I got my cat a few months ago and have a cat tree by the window, shelves and spaces so she can climb up high, and quite a few toys I play with. At first, my cat had no problem hanging by the window, but eventually, I noticed she started to get bored, and while I'm in the middle of working, she would constantly meow or do mischievous things. I put on cat TV a few times for her and noticed she really enjoyed it and would stare at it for hours. However, I would put this on my new TV, as this was really the only free screen I had. She would at times pounce at the TV, once almost knocking it back. After I got my brand new laptop I figured I'll barely get anything for selling my old one, I might as well use it for my cat. It's worked great. I put on cat TV on YouTube and have the back of the laptop screen against a wall beside me, so while I'm working, she just sits there looking at the screen, occasionally pawing at it, and then falling asleep. Of course, I still play with her and give her plenty of pets, but I found this is a great way to keep her mentally stimulated. This also prevents any concern of her damaging my electronics or hurting herself. I took a photo of her sitting and looking at the laptop because it looked like she was hard at work and thought it was funny and sent it to my family. My brother and mom laughed, but my sister messaged me. Sister, S. Hey, you gave your MacBook to the cat? Me, M. Yes, mine was pretty screwed up and I needed a new one, and this keeps her occupied. S. Okay, well if you're no longer using it, can I have it? M. Well, there really is no point considering there are so many issues with it. It's not like the cat owns it, I just use it for her to keep her occupied when I feel like she needs to see more than just a parking lot. S. So you're gonna keep it for your cat rather than give it to me who needs it for school? MacBooks aren't cheap. M. I'm aware they aren't cheap, but there are other companies. This basically went on for a bit until she said I was being an inconsiderate idiot. If the MacBook was in better condition I would totally give it to her, but fixing the screen and speakers and replacing the battery will cost about the same or more as a mid-range Windows laptop. My mom and brother just kinda laughed at it and said not to worry, but my sister is being pretty cold with me. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. It's also probable if you gave it to her in the condition it was in, she'd complain you gave her a busted laptop. Gift horse and mouth and all that. Honestly, unless there's a specific reason you need a MacBook, drop the money on a different laptop that's not going to need so many repairs. Not the idiot. And from your sister's attitude, it sounds like your cat deserves it more anyway. Not the idiot. Your sister is acting pretty entitled over the MacBook, to say the least. You don't have any obligation to give it to her. Good job giving your cat a source of entertainment that won't result in a broken TV.